could be dumber. Now that I know what I know and I see what I saw, I wish that I could be a kid in the summer.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Kids in the Summer podcast. Today we have a special guest. It's not our normal Patrick. Today we have Xander.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me.
Yes, today we're going to be doing a special roommate episode, and Xander has some of the best roommate stories of anyone I know.
This is going to be
good. So we brought him on to give his roommate stories, and then I'll give my roommate stories at the end. We might even split this into 2 episodes because we have so much to talk about.
Oh, there's a lot. Between the two of us, and also with Daniel, Daniel's got a few too. Oh my gosh, there's a lot.
So to get started, we're not even gonna build up. We're gonna go straight into the best ones. We're gonna go straight into
greatest hits. Okay.
Xander's best one.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, it was my sophomore year in college. I had this roommate. We're gonna call him Richard. That's not his real name, but it's fine. So Richard, he was a guy. He was something. Basically, okay. I feel like I can say this now with absolute certainty. Richard was the worst person I've ever met in my entire life. I'm not kidding. Even if I wasn't living with him, I would still say this and be absolutely positive of it. He is the worst person I have ever met in my entire life.
I can confirm, same for me.
Yeah. Just pretty much super racist, sexist, homophobic, everything. Just bad dude. Okay. So do you want to jump straight into the best story, or do you want to work our way up to it?
Let's build up a little bit to it. We'll give a little bit of backstory to Richard.
Okay. So then let's start with the day we met. So I was the first one in our apartment. I was staying in an apartment with 4 people total. Is 2 in each room, 2 rooms. And so 2 bathrooms too. And my room was with Richard. So I shared a bathroom with him too. That was a lot of fun. He was not clean. But anyways, so the day I met him, I got to the apartment first. I think one of my other roommates, Matthew, he was there first, but all that was on his bed was just a army bag and a folded flag. Wasn't really sure what to make of that. I found out later is because he was ROTC, but anyway, so I'm just kind of hanging out, setting up stuff, and then I hear the door open. And then in walks Richard, and I'm like, oh, hey, I guess I'm going to be living with you. I'm Xander. Nice to meet you. He's like, oh, hi, I'm Richard. It's nice to meet me too. Just okay, sure. Well, okay, fine. He's making a joke. Sure, whatever. And I didn't really think anything of it. And so we kind of got talking a little bit. I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. I had some weird roommates last year. I can put up with whatever. I could talk about my roommates from freshman year too. It was just only a few stories, but one of the guys, he was really just weird. So I wasn't new to bad roommates. It was just Richard takes the cake. But anyway, so we're just talking for a bit. I'm kind of getting to know him, and he's like, oh, hey, by the way, do you think you can take me to Spectrum? I need to return a router. And I'm like, sure, I guess. And so we scheduled time, and then later in the week, I took him there, and then we go there. I'm I don't know what happened, but I was waiting in the car for 20 minutes while he was taking care of stuff. And then we get back, and then he just gets out of the car, doesn't say anything, and then just walks back. I'm not even done parking. I'm just okay, you're welcome. Sure. I'm probably still a bit too salty about that, but it pissed me off. Okay, it pissed me off. Just I took time out of my day. The least you can say is thank you. But all right, so I'm just warming up. But I should say so. Richard, he liked to. So he had a laptop. Basically, he was he would either spend all this time at the gym or playing League of Legends or RuneScape, one of the two. He kind of bounced between them. It was either one or the other, all the time. And it was usually dependent on which one he was banned on at that moment. because he got banned. While I was in the room, I was witness to him getting banned for toxicity. Like at least I want to say 6 times, and he had it down to a science. Like he would have a new account going in like minutes. Like it was no problem whatsoever. And I think he got banned in RuneScape. I think once it was for like for botting, but that was it, because RuneScape has like really complex botting rules. It was 07scape if anyone here plays that. But yeah, so he would spend all of his time at the gym, or all of his time playing League. Badly, I should say. He was really, really bad at League. Like I don't play League, but I have a few other friends who do, and they were watching him play, and sometimes they're just like, he's garbage. Like he spends all this time, but he's garbage. And like he raged hard, like really hard. Chris, did you ever hear him raging? I don't know if
I think
you
maybe
were
like once, but not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I recorded it one time and I was showing that to everybody, and like it was, he got real salty. Like he would die and then like just scream like, what the like super loud. Like I would just be studying next to him and he'd just be like, fuck. Like I'm just like, what? Like what is that important? Like I get being salty at a game, but this is a next level. Like if anyone here knows like Tyler 1, that was basically Richard's role model. Like this guy, he was like kind of famous. He used to be famous in the League community for being like the most toxic guy. Like he was like all big muscles and he screamed at everything. So and that's exactly what Richard like idolized. He tried to replicate it perfectly. And so yeah, every time he was at the gym, like actually, okay, I have a lot of friends who went to the gym at the same time as him. I never saw him there, and I still haven't since. I think he's still going to the school I'm at, but I still haven't seen him. But everyone who has seen him has been like, so basically he just walks around. He'll do like 2 reps of something, like he'll do 2 reps of curls or like maybe some squats, and then he'll like puff out, go like, whew, ooh, and then like get up and walk around for a bit, just like, okay, whew, and then come back, do like 2 reps. And oh, that was good. That was real good. Like multiple people told me this. Like, so I really wish someone got it on video because I would pay to see it. Like it is just, he was like all talk, no muscle. Like he did have, like he was built, but he wasn't strong at all. It was just all for show. He had like protein powder, like so much, like on top of the fridge, like huge, like probably like this big of it, like three of those on top of the fridge. He had like cartons and cartons of egg whites. We'll come back to the egg whites later because there's a good story with those. He only knew how to make 2 things. He would make egg whites, or he would make like this rice and black beans and tomatoes, like pretty healthy, except for the egg whites, which he would just like throw in the pan on high heat and then scorch it, and then toss some cheese and guacamole on top. I don't know. I can't say whether it was good or not. I can't imagine. It didn't look good. And then, I should also mention, he would take the pan and then like not even putting it in a bowl or anything. He would take the pan and set it down on the desk and then just eat out of that. Like it scorched the desk. Like it actually burned it a little bit, but that was too much for him to care about.
The smell too, right?
Oh, the smell. Oh, the smell. Oh, Chris.
Just brought back PTSD for you.
Oh, yeah. So it started out, there were forms. There were several forms that the smell took. So it started out when you would just like scorch it in the pan and then stink up the entire apartment. And so then I'm like, okay, we need to do something about this. So I showed him, I'm like, hey, here, look at this. If you turn it down from high, it's not going to burn. Crazy. It's the craziest thing. I know, right? And then so that made it better. That made it a little bit better. Just bit by bit, I started working them down. And then eventually I got him to start putting it in bowls. And then so he puts it in the microwave. If you microwave it, it's not as bad again. Now, to any like viewers, don't do this. Like, it still smells like garbage. Like don't listen to this. Be like, oh, that sounds like a decent snack. Just egg whites. Yeah, just throw it in the microwave real quick. It's still garbage. Like, I'm not going to judge your dietary habits, but like, please have like consider others around you. Like Richard did not. Just like think about the people who are going to have to smell the egg whites. It was just like raw egg smell. Like it was like straight up sulfur, like just throughout the entire apartment. And like it got better for a little bit because one of my other roommates, Matthew. So I'll say now. So I had two other roommates on the other side of the apartment, Matthew and Jason, both really cool guys. Jason, I'm still good friends with to this day. Like if anything, the only bright side is I got Jason out of a friend. I made a friend out of Jason from this. So like silver lining, I guess. We're good friends. Would I do it again? Maybe. We're really good friends. Like, but was it worth it? I don't know. And
to put this in the context, Richard was only roommates with him for 3 months?
Oh yeah. So this every story you're going to hear throughout the course of this took place from like roughly August 20th to I think what was the date? November 17th. Like it was right before we got off for Thanksgiving break is when all of this came to a head. Well, there was a little bit in February too where we skip ahead, but that's not important right now. But yeah, so I eventually got him to work, like putting it in a bowl and then you put it in the microwave, got a bit better. And then he started putting like dryer sheets, stuffing them in the top of the microwave for like venting it. Like that was going to make it any better. I don't know where he got that idea. It didn't make it any better. But
can I interject with a story related to dryer sheets real quick? Just like when I was a kid, I had fish, and the fish smelled horrible no matter what we did. The filter obviously wasn't a very good filter or something.
Mm-hmm.
It did not do a good job. So my mom decided she would outsmart it, and so she started putting dryer sheets over like the filter area to make it smell better. So we went away on like a vacation for a couple days, and then we came back, and my parents wouldn't let me look at the fish anymore.
Oh no!
The dryer sheet had fell in.
Oh no!
And the fish blew up and turned white. Like they turned into like a giant ball and turned white. What? We don't have any photos of it, but this is what I've been told. Like, because they didn't let me see it and didn't tell me anything like for like years.
Oh, that's awful. I feel so bad for that fish.
So, yeah, I don't know if I would put dryer sheets over the microwave ventilator.
I mean, if it poisoned him, that's a Richard problem. That's not my problem. He brought it on himself. Like, just saying.
Okay, back to the Richard stories.
So, oh my gosh. So yeah, so eventually like it kind of fell into like a routine. Like he would like make egg whites like once a day and then he would make the rice, tomatoes and beans. Like I should mention. So he would make this when he comes back from the gym, right? And he would also, when he came back from the gym, he would go into our room and he would shut the door. He did this before he took a shower. So he would sit in there for like 3 hours at a time, fresh from the gym, with a bowl of egg whites. And there was one time I opened the door and I just got hit with like just a wave of like body odor, egg white. It is like, oh, like I had to shut it immediately. I'm like, no, screw this. No, I ain't doing this. I open the door and I'm like, Richard, take a shower right now. Please, just do it right now. He's like, yeah, okay, bro, fine. Don't worry about it. I will in a second. I'm just like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like I had stuff to do that night. Like I think I had like homework I needed to do. And so like I just went into the room and I had a can of like Febreze or something. And I just started spraying it around, like staying around him. Like I sprayed it everywhere around him. And he starts coughing. He's like, oh bro, what the hell is that? Oh, it's poisoning me. God. And I'm just like, it's Febreze. You never smelled Febreze before? Jeez, like it was the most disgusting thing. Like it took a while before the body odor and egg mixture went away. It was bad. It was real bad. And this is like that was like the worst day, but like usually he would come back from the gym and just like spend like an hour or two in a closed room, like no fans or anything. Just like, that was fun. That was sharing a room with him was real fun. Real fun. It also, so I just remember, so his bed, I was sleeping on like the right side of the room and he was on the left side of the room. And so so my side of the room, I mean, I'm not the cleanest person, but like I kept it pretty tidy, but there was like a dividing line in the room where you can see clearly who had what side. And so like his side was just filled with like trash and all this stuff. It was his side was the one closest to the door too. So I had to like walk around this all the time. I couldn't just like, I had to face it when I woke up in the morning. Like this is, I couldn't just ignore it. But anyway, so his bed, he didn't have like sheets or a pillow or anything. He just had a single blanket on like just the bare mattress, like just the crappy one you get at any college, just like, and that was it. He would just like sleep with that. And I don't know why. I asked him, I'm just like, why don't you get like a pillow or something? He's like, it's fine. I have to go home for that and I don't want to. Like he lived like a few hours away, like his parents were. And so like he just didn't want to. I'm just like, okay. And then he would complain about like how cold it was. Just like, you know what would help with that? Another blanket or sheets or a pillow or literally anything. Anything at all other than a single blanket on a bare mattress. But whatever.
Also, it's like a plasticky mattress too, so that
it's like cold. Like there's no like no like heating stuff on that. Like it was you need to put something on it. Like whatever. But so yeah, that was fun. He snored a lot too. That's not really relevant. Like a lot of people snore, but just like he snored a lot.
Just on top of it, add on to it.
Yeah, just on top of everything, on top of it, all the stuff on this list. Jeez,
you could have put up with it, but it's just that adding on part.
Yeah. Just I would have been fine if it was a normal roommate. I'm not gonna like fault him for sleeping. Like, but just another little what is it, piece of straw that's coming close to breaking this camel's back. But let me actually pull up the list that I had of all the stuff that he did, because there was I started making a list. So we're in a weird situation, like our entire hall. So Chris lived down the hall from me, and did you have the same RA as us? I think you did.
Yeah.
Well, or so RA or lack of one, because so we're going through all of the stuff, and then our RA is just like, hey, so I didn't want to be an RA anymore, so I'm quitting. So our entire section of the hall just didn't have an RA, so we didn't get to do our roommate agreements, which is what our building uses to like solve roommate disputes. And so like for a while, like we're just kind of going by. Did you guys get to do your roommate agreement? I know we got some people's. Like
I think we did actually. Yeah,
you did. Okay, yeah, we did.
I think we were like the first ones to sign up.
Yeah, okay, that's probably right. So we didn't, because we're just like we're later on the list or something before our RA quit. So I should mention on the other side of the hall though was I guess our new RA. That like she kind of just like absorbed that portion of the hall, like. For whatever reason, her name was Jamie. She was really cool, and she was actually the RA I had the year before, and so she knew me, and she knew you too, and Joel and Nathan, because we were all together the year before. So, and she was really cool. Like, shout out to Jamie, she was awesome. But so while this is all going on, I'm gathering like a bunch of evidence and stuff. Well, I say evidence, but like a list of things that I can like take to be like, hey, can I get like a room change, or if anything, can we get him in another room? If anyone will have him. And so we had a group chat where I was like building up a big list of stuff to take to, since I finally started talking to Jamie, and she's like, okay, yeah, I didn't know about any of this. Let me talk to my boss, and then we'll get a like meeting set up, and then we could talk about all this stuff. So I started like, I went into this like just like private investigator style. Like I'm just like getting recordings. I was looking up the recording laws in Texas to see what I could get away with, like making sure everything's legal, you know. And then so I got some recordings of like him playing League, and he was just like absolutely screaming. I got some recordings of I got a pretty yikes recording of him saying that all of the LGBT community was subhuman on National Coming Out Day, I should say. That was fun. That was I remember sitting there next to him. I'm just like, did I seriously just hear this? Did I seriously just hear this? Okay. And I got a lot of recordings. So I was just building up all this stuff. Yeah, he also sent he added me on Snapchat, like, and then he would just send me a bunch of random snaps of like of him at the gym. Like he loved sending people pictures of him at the gym. He would just be like it would just be like a picture of like him shirtless or something for the year, just like in front of the mirror, be like, look at how swole I am. Oh, I'm so swole. Ooh, if I were to flex any harder, the camera would break. Oh yeah. This is a quote from him. I'm not making this up. Like you think this is a bit. This is not a bit. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so that was fun. And then there was also like I wrote down, there's also the stuff with Mugda. I don't know if you want to get into that story. That's a fun one. Yeah, I'm not the only one with stories. Every single one of my friends who ran into Richard has a story of their own. Like, even the ones who had never met him, who knew only of his like infamy. Like one of my friends, Jonathan, he had never ever met. He never met Richard or seen Richard, but he had heard the stories. He just knew vaguely what he looked like-ish, and he knew he was an idiot. And so Jonathan is like going to the gym one day. He's just driving there, and then he sees this dude run in front of his car across the street, like while he's driving, just like not a crosswalk or anything, just runs across the street in front of him. And then he calls me. He's like, "Hey, Xander." I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "Is Richard going to the gym right now?" I'm like, "I think so." Why? He's like, "Is he wearing like a black tank top?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, so I almost just hit him with my car." He had nothing to go off of. He just knew vaguely what he looked like, and that he was a complete idiot, like the kind of idiot who would run in front of his car. And that was enough for him to know instantly. He knew right away. Oh my gosh. So yeah, every single one of us has a story about Richard. It was, real good times. Just like, and then there was another guy, one of our other friends, Colin. He hadn't met him at all. And then so one day, one of our other friends, Daniel, was like walking through with Colin, and he sees Richard, and Richard sees Daniel. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then Daniel's like, "Oh, hey," like, just trying to be nice. And then Richard introduces himself. He's like, "Oh, hi." Or Colin introduces himself first. He's like, "Hi, I'm Colin. Nice to meet you." He's like, "Oh, hi. Nice to meet me too." And then Colin tells me, he's like, "Oh, this is the guy. This is the guy. This is him." He was like starstruck. He's like, I can't believe I finally get to meet him. I've heard all the stories. I've heard everything. I've always wanted to meet you. He's like, I was tearing up a little bit. It was beautiful. Everything I ever wanted. Just like everybody has a Richard story. Every single one of us.
One time when I was walking down the hall with Naimisha, before we started dating, before we were like close to dating, it was like when I was first starting to be friends with Naimisha. I was walking down the hall, and here comes Richard down the hall. And obviously he sees me, and he goes up to talk to me and everything. And then he's like, "Hey, Chris." And I'm like, "Hey." And then he's like, "Are y'all two dating?" And that's like the second thing out of his mouth. And so I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Good. Because that'd be weird, because she's taller than you."
I forgot about that.
And so
I completely forgot about that.
And so then me and Namisha just like leave. And then we like, Namisha, I don't think Namisha knew anything about me. And so she's like, is that your friend? And I'm like,
Richard.
no, God, no, not at all.
That was, yeah, he just kind of tried inserting himself into our friend group. Like you would just kind of see like someone else with one of us or one of my other roommates, and he would just kind of like jump in. Like I feel kind of bad for him because like I don't think he had any friends.
Right.
Apparently he did. Like I'll talk about it later. Apparently he did have friends. I never met them. And I'm honestly really curious to see what they're like. But
the sad thing though is that was the first time anyone ever mentioned the possibility of me and Namisha dating. Yeah. That's the first time. Forever that is ingrained as the start of our relationship.
You have him to thank for that. Just oh my gosh. Yeah, whenever you're with each other, just like, oh, how'd you two meet? Well, we met a little bit before this, but we weren't really thinking about dating each other until this one guy just kind of said it, but like he also said it'd be weird because she's taller than me. I guess.
Which also
you probably just leave it out. I don't know. I haven't seen you two together in a little while, but like
I think we're basically the same height. If anything, I'm like a little tiny bit taller. So
yeah,
it didn't even make any sense.
I don't even know. So yeah, I've got some quotes. I've got some quotes in the chat. So we had a big group chat going on with like all of us in the hallway, in this friend group. So, and I was putting in like quotes all the time because there was so much to go off of. So like just to get a hint of like, to get a better idea of who we're dealing with here. So like I think it was one morning I woke up or something. I was working on homework, and then I just hear next to me, bro, you would not believe what just happened. I woke up and I realized how full I am. Like, I'm not kidding. Again, like some people might think I'm joking. These are all real. This is a real person that exists, as baffling as it may be. Like, oh yeah, here was the time I had to explain to him what a thermos was. Because there was something he was writing. He's like, yeah, bro, I don't even know what a thermos is. I just thought it would be good. I'm just like, oh, okay. And so he had really weird gaps in knowledge. Like, I don't understand. So there was one time we were cleaning up the apartment. And so Jason, my roommate, like tossed him a broom to like do some sweeping. Okay. And so he starts sweeping, like he starts pushing it. Like just with the broom, like he's pushing it like this, like just like Jason told me, he's just like, I was sitting there, I'm like, does he really not know how to use a broom? Like, you can never have held a broom in your life, but it's not hard to figure it out. Let's see what else we got in here. There's so much stuff. This entire channel is just filled with stuff from him. Like, oh boy. Let's see. Scroll up a bit. Oh yeah, so he would send us a lot of Snapchats too. And in the meantime, while I'm going through this, he would send me and Daniel Snapchats all the time, and they were too funny. We'd have to screenshot him. He never cared. Like he would send some really awful stuff, some like super racist stuff in the Snapchats, and we just screenshot it to send to each other and just be like, "Oh yeah, bro, so you saw it?" Like, yeah, we saw it. Yeah, we saw
this for later.
Yeah, I'm definitely saving this. What is this? Oh, geez. Okay, this next bit, Chris, I'm not sure if this is safe for YouTube.
I can edit it out if needed.
Okay. Okay, so here's a conversation that actually happened. Okay, so this was September 28th, 2017. I found out Hugh Hefner died, and I was just like, oh damn, Hugh Hefner died. Who the fuck is that? Like he's the guy who made Playboy. What the fuck is that? It's like a porno mag, I guess. Wait, there's like magazines for porn? who the fuck reads that? And then I'm like, I look up like a picture or like Playboy magazine on Wikipedia or whatever. Then there's like a picture of Marilyn Monroe. I'm like, oh yeah, so like there's Marilyn Monroe. Who the fuck is that? It's just like a professional model, I guess. So like Jennifer Aniston, like I think she's an actress, but yeah, I guess. It's like, all right, to be honest, I don't actually know who Jennifer Aniston is. Is she hot? This is a real person. Like by all like he defies all logic. Like, okay, every time I talk about this with like with Chris or Daniel or whoever, like I don't understand how he hasn't been stabbed yet. Like this is a guy like he is almost definitely going to die because he pissed the wrong person off and he gets stabbed. Like I have no doubt in my mind about that. I just don't know how he's made it this far in life without that having happened. Like it baffles my mind. Like it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Just here's another good quote. This is from him to me. Yo, can I squeeze your titties? Since you know you have man boobs. What? like what? Like no, just once. It makes no sense. I don't remember the context of this, but what? This is like 2.5 years ago. But
Does Richard need context?
No.
This is probably just the only message he sent you.
Even with context, like it makes even less sense. Like, oh yeah. There was one time he was talking about he wanted to try out MMA, and so me and Daniel were like, oh okay. We got this friend of ours. He's really, really good at pretty much like Muay Thai, capoeira, like a bunch of different stuff. We're like, should we invite him? Like if he's gonna go to the gym and he wants to do MMA, should we invite this guy? Should we invite Adam? I mean, it's mean, I know, but like. It would have been cathartic. Just a bit. I mean, if you signed up for it. Oh, jeez. Okay. I scrolled back far enough. So I got to the part. Okay. So Richard, let me pull up my chair for this. Everybody buckle up. Okay. So one day I found out. This isn't even something I stumbled across. Richard willingly showed me this, okay? I found out that Richard had written erotic fan fiction at one point for some of his friends on his RuneScape server. Like, he took, not even their characters, like they themselves, his friends, and he self-inserted himself in it as the girl, and his friend Lamar was the dude. Okay. And so it starts out based, I think the whole thing is like based in RuneScape. Like he's talking about he was hanging in some tavern in RuneScape, and then Lamar comes in, and I should mention it's called, so this is titled The Lamargasm Chronicles. Yeah. It was a series of stories. It was several chapters. And so there was one time we're talking and he's like, bro, have I ever shown you this? I'm like, no. He's like, okay, hold on. And then so like he goes to the forums where he posted it and he puts it on the Word document. He sends it to me. He willingly sends this to me. I got one chapter in before I'm like, I cannot do that. It is the most disgusting and depraved thing I have ever read in my entire life. Like, this makes 50 Shades for Grey look like the Bible. Like, it is so bad. It is so bad. and I will not read any of it here. Like you cannot pay me to read it. I'm sorry. Like you just have to take my word for it. It is bad. It is so disgusting. And so I scrolled up to a part where you're talking about you posted this, Chris. You said was reading it. She said, I read chapter 4. You have to read this. And then when she was done, honestly, it's not that bad. like, I don't agree, but okay. Like, I'm honestly curious to see what was read that's worse than this. It was something. It was something. And so at another point, what?
He used to threaten that he was going to make another chapter about me.
Yes. So yeah, he threatened he was going to make one for you. And then he started writing the the Xandergasm Chronicles. I think he got one chapter and he never sent it to me, but I know he started writing it because he showed me when he started writing it. I have never been more terrified in my life. Would that count as sexual harassment? I feel like it might.
I feel like it does if you don't want it.
I didn't want it. Nobody wants that. The world doesn't need it. The world would be a better place without it. Chris, something like that shouldn't exist. Like if he got any further into it, I might have been tempted to call a priest or like a rabbi or a mob, just anyone who can just exercise that computer, because it is not clean after that.
Imagine if you
my phone is not unclean because I have downloaded it onto here. It is permanently tainted.
Imagine if you uploaded that online and then you go for a job interview and they're like, so we Googled you and explain this Xandergasms to us.
Oh no. I would just get up and walk out. It's over for me. There's no coming back. I could start to try to explain. Well, you see, No. I'm sorry. I can't. It's over. Here it is. I found it. October 17th. The sequel to the Lamargasm Chronicles, the Xandergasm Chronicles, is now being written. Oh. This is... I remember the first time I told all of you about it, no one believed me. There was there's no way he wrote that. And then I posted it, and then one of my other friends posted it in a server he was in, and they all did. I think they did like a dramatic reading of it, and they were losing their minds. He's like, "Thank you for this. It is the most beautifully disgusting thing I've ever seen." This is a guy that exists. I can't say it enough. It still baffles me. He exists. He's walking around. He's just walking around on the streets. No one's can do anything about it. Like you could have walked past him. You listening right now, you could walk past Richard and never know it. He could be anywhere. Anyway, so now
I think now you'll probably know it.
Actually, yeah, you might know him. Like, if you walk past him and then, yeah, okay, no, that's fair. I think you're probably pretty equipped now to know what you're getting into. So actually, yeah, then if you see him, you can ask yourself, is that the guy? Is this the guy? Xander wasn't lying. He really does exist. And you'll be as baffled as the rest of us. Like, it's just... It's the question that will never be answered. How has he made it this far without being stabbed? The world, it's like how many licks it takes to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop. The world may never know. And so I think it's time we get to the finale of this. Okay. So you've all been pretty warmed up. So I told you earlier about the egg whites. He made egg whites a lot. and it smelled really bad. And so I should also give you a little context about one of my other roommates, Matthew. So I think I might have said Matthew was in ROTC. Matthew's a really big dude. I'm just going to say that now. He's like 6'5", like 260 pounds, like all muscle, like big dude. And so ROTC, so like he's like, he knows how to fight and like big guy, big scary guy. So there was one day where this is November, I think November 15th or so, give or take. It was right before Thanksgiving. So this day I had everything prepared, and I was going to be going into the meeting with Jamie, our RA, her boss, like the building coordinator. And so I was going to be like dropping everything I had on Richard, being like, okay, this is what I've got. Can you please do something about this? Because it's been 3 months at this point. I don't know how much longer I can make it. And so the very night before, Richard walks in, and so he had made egg whites twice that day. Okay. He's going back for a third time. The apartment already smells like trash. It already smells like, it's so bad. I should say, Matthew's a good dude. He actually bought an air purifier to help out with this. Like, he bought a big ass air purifier, smacked it in the living room. It helped. Not that much, but it helped. And so Richard is going back to make egg whites for the third time that day. And Matthew is done. Matthew like stands in front of the microwave. He's like, "You're not doing that." He's like, "Don't." I think his exact words were, "Don't you fucking dare." And Richard's like, "What?" He's like, Matthew's like, "Don't you fucking dare put that in for a third time today." He's like, "I'll put dryer sheets in it. Don't worry about it, bro." Just like, and Jason and I are just sitting on the couch. We're just watching this like, oh, and they're starting to square up. And Richard is like 5'8", and like I said, Matthew is like 6'5", so pretty big height difference between the two of them. And so like Matthew's just like kind of like towering over Richard, and Richard's trying to like act all big, just like this, and then Richard throws a punch. Like, he throws a punch and like stops right here in front of Matthew's face. Matthew doesn't flinch. He doesn't do anything. He knew he wasn't going to hit him. And so he doesn't flinch. And then Richard moves again to like actually punch him this time. And Matthew just like grabs his arm and like puts him in an elbow hold. Like he puts his elbow to his throat. He's just like, "Don't you do it." And then he like throws him off, and that's it. And Jason and I are just sitting on the couch like, oh damn, did we seriously just watch this happen? And so and that's it. It's over for the rest of the night. It's over. We all just go back to our rooms. Jason and I go back to like watching anime or something, and that was it. So the next morning I go and I have the meeting with the building coordinator. And then so I drop everything I have. I show him all the recordings, all the pictures, all the stuff I've gathered. Like, anything we can do about this. It's like, I'll have to look into this. Just like, give me a minute. And I'm like, okay, sure, fine. And so the day goes on. I go to class, and then I get texts from both Jason and Matthew saying, "Yo, Connor, this is the guy I talked to, just came by asking for Richard." And I'm just like, okay, so this is where the stuff's going to happen. Okay, here we go. And throughout the day, like I'm just texting them. They're like, "Yeah, Richard isn't back yet. We don't know what's up with him." And so I was gone like the whole day on class. I think it was like whatever day it was. I was really busy that day. I had a lot of classes. And then I get back to my apartment at like 7 p.m. roughly. And I was just like wiped out after class. I take a nap. I notice Richard still isn't there, but his computer's there, which is weird. Like, usually if he goes to class, he'll take his computer with him. But I just take a nap. And then like about an hour later, I wake up and there's a cop standing over me. I'm just like, oh shit. Well, what did I do? And he like gets up, he like stands over me, he's like, sir, were you witness to the altercation that took place last night? I'm like coming out of a coma. I'm like, I guess. Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm gonna need you to make a statement for us. I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? And so I go out into the living room, and then there's another cop standing there, and then Matthew's sitting down. Jason's not there. I found out he was on a date or something. He just ditched the two of us for a date. And so I sit down next to Matthew. They give me a piece of paper, and I write down what happened, like the fight that happened the night before. Like fight, and then they leave. Well, actually, first Richard comes back for a little bit. Another cop opens up the door and he's like, all right, grab what you need for the night. And Richard walks in, he starts grabbing some stuff, and then he turns to the fridge and he's like, and then he opens it up and grabs a carton of egg whites. He's like, can I make a snack first? Matthew and I just looked at each other. We're like, are you kidding me right now? And the cop that told him to grab his stuff looked at him like he was the dumbest person he had ever seen. Like everyone in the room was just looking at him like, are you serious right now? Are you absolutely serious? Like, the cop's just like, no, you can't make a snack right now. Just grab your stuff and go. And so like he gets all the stuff for the night, and then he leaves, and that's it. And we don't see him. I finish giving my statement to the police, and then they leave. And so I'm just like, what do we do now? I'm like, I mean, I shared a room with him, and I don't know where Richard was that night. So I'm like, okay, there's a non-zero chance he could come back and kill me in my sleep. So, and then I called up Daniel, who was living with Chris at the time. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I stay with you guys? He's like, sure, Chris isn't here. I called Chris. I'm like, hey, you mind if I stay in your room? And you're like, sure. I forget where you were. You were just, I think you were back in NAC at that point. Yeah, because it was right before Thanksgiving. I think you had left already. And so, yeah, you were gone, and you let me stay in your place for the night, and thank you for that. I could have died, man. I could have died. But
just suffocate you with egg whites.
Yeah, I wake up and I'm just like hanging upside down over a pool of egg whites. It's just like, Richard comes over the speaker. I want to play a game. Something like that. Just below you, I have a pool full of egg whites. And in front of you, I have League of Legends. You must make it to gold while hanging upside down. If you don't make it to gold 1 in the next half an hour, you will die by egg whites.
And you complete that challenge, and the second challenge is you have to memorize every word to the Margasms within 30 minutes and recite it back to me.
Kill me. I'll never do it. Just kill me already. You can't make me. That would be a fate worse than death. Oh no, please. Just end it. Just cut my head off, drown me, do it. I'll never do it. You can't make me talk. Oh no. But anyways, so after that night, things calmed down like a lot. So Richard was just gone. Just gone. He wasn't back for like a while. And then so the next morning, Matthew and I woke up, we're just like, he's gone. We didn't know what happened at that point. We're just like, he's gone. So we start cleaning up everything. We cleaned the hell out of that apartment. Like there was not a single spot untouched by Richard that we didn't or there was not a single spot touched by Richard that we did not like clean thoroughly. Like we removed every single trace of him being there. And then once everything was done, like apparently the next day he came back with another cop to grab a bunch of to grab all of his stuff. I missed that. I wasn't there. but I heard from Matthew that he stopped by. So, and then that was it. It was over. He was just gone. Like Thanksgiving break came and went, and he still wasn't back. We had no idea what happened. And that was it for about a month. And then we found out Matthew got served a court summons by Richard's lawyer, and Richard was suing Matthew for assault. Oh, because apparently, so we found out about this later. Apparently, when Connor, the building coordinator, called down Richard, he got his side of the story, which was apparently that we were all bullying him like all the time. And like I genuinely don't know where that came from. Like I literally have no idea. Like at worst, I just said, I'm just like, he would be going on some random rant. I'd just be like, please shut up. Just please shut up. Like that was it. That's all I can think of. But anyways, so Connor was talking to Richard, and he's saying, and Richard told him about the fight. And because it's the law, they have to report that as assault because Matthew touched Richard and Richard didn't want to be touched. That's it. And so they have to file that, and that's why the cops were called, and that's why Richard got removed. Not because he was an awful person, but to protect him from Matthew. I don't know. So, and then he got moved to another apartment or something at that point. I think so. So when I was saying earlier, I guess he had friends. So apparently he was staying with these friends. I don't know where he was staying. Honestly, I don't care to find out. But like, apparently he was staying with them for a while this was happening. And then so then he sued Matthew for assault. So. And then so the trial was in February, and like we're just like, what are we gonna do about this? I guess we have to go and testify on Matthew's behalf. Be like, yeah, they got into a fight over egg whites, but it was like Richard was being a piece of shit. So I guess so we're all prepared for it though, and like Matthew gets lawyered up. Like he got a couple really cool lawyers. Like apparently, I guess there were like it was these two lawyers, and they like did cases together or something. They're really nice guys though. So the court date came up. Like we all of us got suited up. Like just walking out of the car, walking to the courtroom. Like Sharp Dressed Man is playing as we walk in. Like we felt really badass, right? And then so we meet Matthew's lawyers in there, and we're just talking with them. They're just like, yeah, don't worry, we got this case on lock. Like usually the night before a case, we're like going back and forth, like thinking up like strategies we can use, like things we can do to like get the results we want. No, last night we're just like, all right, how many times can we fit the phrase egg whites into our statements? Just like, okay, like, or during questioning, just like asking Richard, okay, so before the fight took place, like, where were the egg whites? Were the egg whites in your hand? Were the egg whites on the counter? Were the egg whites in the microwave? Where were the egg whites during this fight? Please tell me where the egg whites were. It is very important. And they're just like, oh, we just had a great time with it. They were.
Was this your first time making egg whites today?
Yeah.
Was this your second time making egg whites today?
Would you consider yourself an egg white expert? But yeah, so we go into the courtroom. We're just waiting, and then the Matthew's lawyers talk to the judge, and they're like, and the judges said, so Richard didn't show up. Apparently Richard got a call from his lawyer like a week before, and then he called them back saying, hi, like I don't want to pursue this case anymore. And then that was it. Like his lawyer called him back after that, like, okay, I need you to like do it over the phone, not like a voicemail or anything. Like just I need verbal confirmation that you do not want to do this, like state your name, all this like formal stuff. But he never did that. So then his lawyer showed up, and she's just like, yeah, I haven't heard from him at all. Like I haven't heard from him in over a week. I've tried getting in contact with him, but if he doesn't show up in half an hour, I'll ask the judge to drop the case. So we just kind of chill, just shooting the shit with Matthew's lawyers for half an hour, and then he never shows up. And then so we just leave. we went to go get breakfast, and that's it. He just like never showed up. And then like about a couple of weeks later, I saw him. I saw him walking up the stairs. I think he was still in the same building as us. I'm not sure. But I saw him. I'm like, "Hey, Richard, how you doing? You know, I didn't see you at the courtroom. What's up with that? Where you at, man?" He's like, "Oh, I didn't want to go." Just like, well, that's a shame. Okay, see ya. And so, and then that was it. Like, I have not seen him since. I have had friends who have seen him, and they have said he is still on his bullshit. But other than that, like, he's still walking the streets. Apparently, he's still going to school. He was on academic probation when we were living together. So I can't imagine he got much better, but who knows? I'm honestly curious to see what he's doing now. Like, not even out of like malice, like or like I want to see like that I'm doing so much better than him. I don't care about that, but like I just want to know what he's doing. Like, is he still making egg whites 5 times a day? Is he still going to the gym all the time? I think he's still going to the gym as much. But like, I just want to like, I want to, where is he now? Like, I want that post-credit scene. You see all the stuff he's up to, like, you know, just like him at the store, like him turning around, like looking at the camera. Like, you know, like, I want to, where is he now? Like, I'm genuinely curious. It's been 2.5 years. I need to know. Like, my curiosity is killing me. But yeah, at least up till now, that is the story of Richard. It is absolutely baffling that he's a person that exists, but he does somehow. I don't know. Science may never be able to explain it. The end, I guess. I don't. There's no good way to end such a ridiculous story. Like,
I have
it's
a good way
such
to
a
end
roller
it.
coaster. Like, oh, know what you got?
If we get 200 likes on this video, I will text Richard and get a follow-up on what he's doing in his life. If we can get 200 likes on the YouTube video.
We need, be sure to hit that 200 like goal, and leave a comment too, because comments, like, you know, help out the algorithm. We can get more people in here. Please, we need to know. I have his phone number too. Like, we could get a bunch of us just asking. We might be able to get him on, you know. Actually, I don't know if we want that. I don't think anyone wants that. We'd have to cut the entire episode.
Yeah.
We'd have to lose everything, because he like, it would be cool to have him on up until the point where he opens his mouth. And then like all the fun of it is gone. But I would like, please let this hit 200 likes, because I really want to know what he's doing now. The world needs to know. I wonder if he ever got past, I think in League he was Silver 3, which was like pretty not great ranking. So I'm curious to see if he's climbed up at all. Like, I want to see if he's gotten better. Oh jeez. It's just, but we need to know. Please hit the 200 likes.
Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, all that.
Yeah. Smash that like button.
Ring the notification bell.
Crush that like button like Richard crushes cartons of egg whites. Just do reps of that like button. Got it? We need to know.
Do it like,
please.
Do it like Richard. Only do one, and then stop and just pose a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. That's the perfect way to do it. Yeah. And also do it like Richard. Do it once, and then go around and tell everyone else how you're doing it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Send it on Snapchat, put it on your story. Yeah. I feel swole after subscribing to the Summer Podcast.
Yeah, be sure. Oh my gosh. What a guy. What a guy. I still, the more I talk about him, the less I believe he actually exists. But then I have all these memories. Like, I honestly, like, I wonder if it's, I got like hit up by like Will Smith and his Men in Black suit, and it, like, they had like a reverse one of those flasher things where like it implants memories in your head, because that's the only way you can explain it. Like, this can't be real. This has to be some fever dream that we all collectively lived through. But
oh man,
I guess we'll find out if we hit 200 likes.
200 likes, guys. That's gonna be it for this one. We'll have a part 2 probably with all the other roommates that aren't Richard.
Oh geez, there's a lot. I can't wait to hear some of your stories, because I don't know all of them. I know there's a lot that I don't know. I think I kept most everybody up to date on all the Richard stories, but
yeah,
you did not talk much about yours. But the ones I've heard, they're real good. I'm excited to see this.
Okay, so y'all stay tuned next week probably for this part 2, and so we'll see y'all next week on the Kids of the
All
Summer podcast.
Bye, everyone.
Now that I'm older, I wanna be younger. Now that I'm wiser, I wanna be done.